Whether you work in a dangerous profession or not, on-the-job accidents can happen. Workers' compensation helps injured workers recover medically and financially.
Here to tell us how is Martha Ramsay with Ramsay Law Firm. Martha, good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Let's start off with this. What are some common workplace injuries?
The most common injuries we see are injuries to the neck, the back, the shoulder, and the knee. But the doctors are getting more sophisticated about paying good attention to head injuries for the NFL players that I represent specifically with concussions or ongoing blows. They're working to develop the medical field so that the workers that I also represent, the guys that get doors dropped on their head or products dropped on their head, they're doing a better job of tracking the long-term effects of those head injuries.
So what should I do if I am injured on the job?
First thing you need to do is make sure you report it to your employer. And the second thing is to make sure you get medical treatment. Too often, and we talked about this just a minute ago, I see really good, hard-working folks who have a bad fall or an injury on the job, and they think they're going to go home and they'll be sore for a few days and they'll shake it off. And it turns out they've injured and need surgery, and they go back to their company and say, remember I had this fall, and the insurance company denies it because they didn't report it. So you're always better just to report first.
So just report it, even if you think it's not that big of a deal, report it anyway.
Make sure you report it. It's just protection for you and your family in case the injury is more serious than what you think it is.
Okay. Talk about workers' compensation.
How does it work? Well, first of all, workers' compensation in North Carolina is not state-run. It is not funded by the taxpayers. There's no taxpayer dollars being used to fund workers' compensation. It's private insurance, just like the state mandates that we all buy insurance for our cars. The state mandates that employers buy insurance to protect their employees. So they purchase it through different companies, and they have different levels of deductibles, but they're required to have it.
Okay.
Are all injuries that you might incur on the job covered?
No, and that's a common misperception here in North Carolina. Every state has its own Workers' Compensation Act, and in North Carolina we have some very specific rules that limit the options for types of injuries. So you have to meet a certain type of legal theory, either a occupational disease, that the hazards of your job, working in radio and wearing headphones, caused you to develop a disease condition, or that you had a specific traumatic incident, a fall on the job, that caused you to develop an injury to your neck or back, or you had an accident on the job, something unexpected or unlooked for.
But are all injuries on the job considered accidents?
They aren't, and this is a very unusual thing in North Carolina. So many other states, if you're injured and you're on the job, that's enough. But in North Carolina, our legislature wanted to narrow the options for workers to recover benefits, and so they set up a rule that says you have to show that it was something unusual or unexpected in the workplace. It actually, the courts say, an interruption in the workday. And what trips a lot of folks up is that they think they have to show they were doing their regular job in the regular fashion to get benefits, when in fact they have to show an accident, something unusual or different occurred.
I think most of us want to know what benefits that can be collected under workers' comp.
Thank you. So if you're injured on the job and it's a compensable claim, you're entitled to 3 benefits. 1, medical treatment. 2, payment for time out of work. And 3, payment for any permanent injury that you sustain. Now, the way that we put a value on that permanent injury, a dollar value, is that we look at what your ability is to go back to work. So if you can go back to work, you might just be entitled to compensation for an impairment rating or loss of use. If you have to go back to work making less, you can make a claim for that. And if you're permanently disabled, you may be entitled to longer benefits. But our legislature recently made some changes limiting the benefits to injured workers that make it difficult to recover lifetime benefits.
Martha, thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you. You can find the Ramsay Law Firm online at ramsaylawfirm.com. It's there on your screen, the correct spelling, ramsaylawfirm.com, or call them. The office number is 704-376-1616, 704-376-1616. Again, thank you so much.
Good to have you here, Martha.
Thank you.